All right, so today we're diving into a story that's both terrifying and inspiring.
Yeah.
I think most people listening probably know the name Ted Bundy, but we're going to be focusing on one of his few known survivors, Carol Durant.
Right.
And we're going to be using excerpts from a People.com article called Girl Who Got Away, the true story of Ted Bundy survivor Carol Durant and her life now. See, get ready, because this one gets intense.
It's a story that digs into the psychology of survival and how someone can reclaim their life after facing pure evil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So picture this. It's November 1974.
Okay.
A busy shopping mall in Murray, Utah.
Right.
And Carol Durant is just 18 years old when she's approached by this man who claims to be a police officer.
Wow.
Officer Roseland.
Interesting.
He even flashes a badge and says he's investigating a car break-in.
Now, you have to remember that this wasn't just a random alias that Bundy pulled out of thin air. He deliberately chose names and personas that evoked trust and authority.
Right.
You know, it was a key part of his strategy to disarm potential victims.
He really had that whole charming act down, didn't he?
He did.
It's chilling how calculated it all was.
Yeah.
So Carol, wanting to be helpful, gets into his Volkswagen.
Right.
But right away, there are some red flags.
Okay.
She noticed he smelled of alcohol and even described him as creepy.
Now, the alcohol wasn't just a coincidence.
Right.
Later, Bundy admitted that drinking was part of his pre-killing ritual.
Oh, wow.
It was a way for him to lower his inhibitions and detach from the reality of his actions.
Wow, so it's like a way to numb himself from what he was about to do.
Exactly. And think about the context here. A shopping mall, a place that we associate with safety and normalcy.
Right.
Bundy deliberately chose locations like this to create the sense of security before shattering it.
Right.
It was all part of his psychological game.
So they drive a short distance from the mall, and that's when everything changes.
Oh, no.
Bundy tries to handcuff Carol.
Oh, gosh.
And then attacks her with a crowbar.
The choice of weapons is significant here.
Yeah.
The handcuffs represent Bundy's need for control, his desire to, dominate his victims completely.
Right.
The crowbar, on the other hand, speaks to the brutality of his intentions.
Right.
This wasn't about a quick or painless death.
It's like he wanted to inflict as much pain and terror as possible.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Carol fought back.
Wow.
She didn't just give in.
Wow.
She resisted with everything she had.
And that resistance was absolutely critical.
Right.
Bundy, like many predators, expected submission.
Right.
He thrived on the power dynamic of a victim and aggressor.
Right.
When Carol fought back, it disrupted his plan and bought her precious time.
And then in a moment of pure luck, a car driven by Wilbur and Mary Walsh drives by and interrupts the attack.
Oh my gosh.
This gives Carol the chance to escape.
Think about how often Bundy targeted secluded areas, places where he could operate undisturbed.
Right.
The randomness of the Walshes being there at that exact moment completely threw him off.
It was like fate intervened.
Yeah. It highlights the chaotic nature of reality.
Right.
How even the most meticulously planned acts can be disrupted by chance.
And get this. The same night, Carol escaped.
Wow.
Bundy abducted and murdered 17-year-old Deborah Kent.
This really emphasizes the urgency with which Bundy operated. He wasn't someone who lingered or hesitated.
Right.
He was driven by this compulsion, and his crimes often occurred in rapid succession.
So knowing that makes her survival even more incredible.
Yeah.
But her ordeal wasn't over.
Right.
Carol went on to testify against Bundy at his trial.
Her testimony was pivotal in securing his conviction for aggravated kidnapping.
Right.
It was a huge moment, not just for Carol, but for the entire case.
Yeah.
It marked the first time Bundy was held accountable for his crimes.
Wow.
And it set the stage for his eventual downfall.
Think about the courage it took for her to face him in court.
I know.
To relive that trauma.
Yeah.
In front of the world.
In front of everyone.
And she didn't stop there.
Wow.
Carol followed Bundy's case,
Okay.
attending his trials in Colorado and Florida.
Wow.
Determined to see him face consequences for all his actions.
So she was relentless in her pursuit of justice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This wasn't just about her personal experience. It was about advocating for all of Bundy's victims, making sure their voices were heard.
It makes you wonder how you would react after facing something so horrific.
Yeah.
Would you be able to move on, or would you just be forever haunted by the experience?
That's a question that goes beyond this specific case. It touches on the very nature of resilience,
Right.
on the human capacity to heal and rebuild even after unimaginable trauma.
And that's what's so fascinating about Carol's story.
Right.
She didn't let this experience break her.
Yeah.
In fact, she went on to build a remarkable life.
That's incredible.
And that's where things take a turn.
Okay.
And it's not what you might expect.
Yeah.
Instead of being consumed by fear and anger, Carol chose a different path.
And that's a story we'll unpack in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's incredible to think about, after surviving this horrific ordeal, Carol didn't just survive.
Right.
She thrived.
She did.
She went on to finish college, built a successful career in telecommunications, and raised a family.
It really does speak to the power of the human spirit.
Right.
You know, to find strength and resilience in the face of unimaginable trauma.
Yeah.
Carol's story challenges this common perception that trauma victims are forever broken or defined by their experiences.
Yeah, it's like she took that experience and used it as fuel to create a meaningful life.
Exactly.
It's really inspiring.
Instead of succumbing to fear and despair, she chose to focus on rebuilding her life and finding joy.
Right.
This active choice is a key element of post-traumatic growth, where individuals not only cope with trauma, but they actually use it as a catalyst for positive change.
And she didn't shy away from talking about her experience.
Yeah.
In an interview, she said that while the encounter made her more cautious around strangers, she refused to let it define her.
That statement is so powerful.
Yeah.
It highlights her conscious decision to not let fear dictate her life. Many survivors struggle with things like hypervigilance and anxiety after a traumatic event.
Right.
But Carol actively worked to reclaim her sense of agency and autonomy.
It's like she refused to let Bundy steal her joy or her future.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And her actions speak louder than words.
Right.
She pursued higher education. She built a successful career. She created a loving family.
Yeah.
All things that Bundy tried to take away from her
Right.
and his other victims.
Right.
It's a powerful act of defiance, a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit.
And she didn't stop there.
Wow.
Carol went on to advocate for Bundy's victims.
Oh, wow.
She even set up a Facebook page
Really?
to share their stories and honor their memory.
This speaks volumes about her empathy and her commitment to turning her pain into a force for good.
Yeah.
By giving a voice to those who were silenced,
Right.
she's ensuring that they're not forgotten and that their stories continue to inspire and warn others.
It's a way of reclaiming their narratives as well.
Absolutely.
Taking back the power from Bundy and giving it to the victims.
It's about shifting the focus from the perpetrator to those who were harmed, honoring their memory, and ensuring that their lives are remembered for more than just their tragic endings.
Speaking of reclaiming narratives, we haven't talked much about the impact of Carol's testimony at Bundy's trial.
Right.
It was instrumental in securing his conviction for aggravated kidnapping.
It was a pivotal moment in the case.
Right.
Not only did it provide crucial evidence against Bundy, but it also empowered other survivors to come forward and share their stories.
Yeah.
Her bravery had this ripple effect.
Emboldening others to break their silence and seek justice.
It must have been so difficult to face him in court.
I know.
To relive that nightmarish experience.
Yeah.
And yet she did it.
Right.
Not just for herself, but for all the women he had hurt.
Her courage in that moment is undeniable.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming fear, we have the power to choose courage, to stand up for what's right, and to fight for justice.
And she didn't just testify at his first trial.
Right.
She went on to attend subsequent trials in Colorado and Florida.
Oh, wow.
Ensuring that Bundy would be held accountable for all of his crimes.
This unwavering pursuit of justice is remarkable.
Yeah.
It speaks to her profound sense of empathy for all of Bundy's victims.
Right.
And her determination to see him face the full consequences of his actions.
It's a testament to her strength of character and her unwavering belief in the power of truth and accountability.
Right.
She refused to let him get away with his crimes, even if it meant reliving her own trauma time and time again. Exactly. And her actions had a significant impact on the course of justice.
Yeah.
By relentlessly pursuing accountability, she helped ensure that Bundy's reign of terror was brought to an end.
Right.
Her story serves as a powerful example of how one person can make a difference, even in the face of overwhelming odds.
Carol's story is a testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity.
Yeah.
But it also raises some important questions about our own safety.
Right.
And how we can protect ourselves from becoming victims of violence.
You're right.
Yeah.
Her experience serves as a stark reminder that evil can lurk in unexpected places,
Right.
and that we must all be vigilant in protecting ourselves and those we care about.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can delve deeper into some practical strategies for personal safety in the next part of our discussion.
That sounds like a good plan. Let's take a pause here and come back to explore those strategies in our final segment. So we talked about Carol's incredible resilience and her fight for justice.
Right.
But her story also makes us think about, how we can protect ourselves and what we can learn from her experience.
You're absolutely right. It's not about living in fear, but about being empowered with knowledge and strategies
Right.
that can help us navigate these potentially dangerous situations.
So let's talk about those strategies.
Okay.
Where do we even begin?
Well, one of the most important takeaways from Carol's story is the importance of trusting our instincts.
Yep.
If
Yeah.
something feels off, it possibly is.
Right.
Don't dismiss those feelings. Pay attention to them, and don't be afraid to remove yourself from a situation that feels uncomfortable.
It's like that inner voice we all have.
Yeah.
That gut feeling that's telling us something isn't right.
Exactly, and it's often more accurate than we realize.
Right.
Sometimes it's easy to rationalize those feelings away, especially if someone seems charming or trustworthy.
Right.
But remember, even Ted Bundy was able to manipulate people with his charisma.
That's a chilling thought. So if we find ourselves in a situation where our gut is screaming at us to get out,
Yeah.
what should we do?
First and foremost, prioritize your safety.
Okay.
Don't worry about being polite or making excuses.
Right.
If you feel threatened, remove yourself from the situation as quickly and safely as possible.
Right.
Trust your instincts, and don't hesitate to call for help if needed.
So it's about putting our well-being above social expectations.
Absolutely. Your safety is paramount. Now, beyond trusting your gut, there are other practical steps you can take to enhance your personal safety.
Like what?
Well, being aware of your surroundings is crucial.
Okay.
Pay attention to who's around you and what's happening. Avoid walking alone in dark or isolated areas, especially at night.
Right.
If you must walk alone, let someone know your route and your expected arrival time.
It's about being present and alert, not distracted or lost in thought.
Exactly. And if you feel like someone is following you, don't be afraid to turn around and make eye contact.
Right.
This can often deter a potential attacker as it shows them that you're aware of their presence.
It's like taking away the element of surprise.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about self-defense. Okay.
Knowing how to protect yourself physically can be incredibly empowering. It can make a real difference in a dangerous situation.
I think a lot of people might feel intimidated by the idea of learning self-defense.
Right.
Like it requires some kind of special skill or athletic ability.
I understand that feeling, but self-defense is for everyone.
Okay.
There are many different styles and techniques,
Right.
and you can find one that suits your needs and abilities.
Yeah.
Even learning a few basic moves can be incredibly effective.
So what are some basic techniques that everyone should know?
Striking vulnerable areas like the eyes, nose, throat, or groin can be very effective in incapacitating an attacker.
Okay.
Even if they're larger or stronger than you,
Right.
you don't need to be a martial arts expert to deliver a powerful blow to these sensitive areas.
It's about using your body's natural weapons to your advantage.
Exactly. Another important technique is learning how to break free from grabs and holds.
Okay.
There are a number of simple but effective methods for doing this.
That can give you the confidence to react if someone tries to restrain you.
That's reassuring to know. But what about the mental aspect of self-defense? What if you freeze up in a dangerous situation?
Freezing is a normal physiological response to fear,
Okay.
but it can be overcome with practice and preparation.
Okay.
One effective technique is to visualize different scenarios
Right.
and mentally rehearse how you would react.
It's like creating a mental script for how to handle a potential threat.
Exactly. By mentally practicing different responses, you can train your mind and body to react more instinctively and effectively
Right.
in a real-life situation.
It's amazing how powerful our minds can be,
It is.
even in the face of danger.
And remember, self-defense is not just about physical techniques.
Right.
It's also about having the mental fortitude to stay calm, assess the situation, and make smart decisions.
It's about being proactive, not reactive.
Precisely. It's about taking steps to mitigate risks, trusting your instincts, and having a plan in place.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Carol Durant's incredible story, what are the key takeaways we want our listeners to remember?
Well, first and foremost, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't ignore those feelings.
And don't be afraid to take action to protect yourself.
Absolutely. Be aware of your surroundings, take steps to enhance your personal safety, and consider learning some basic self-defense techniques.
And most importantly, remember that even in the face of unimaginable trauma, the human spirit can endure and overcome.
Carol's story is a powerful testament to that truth.
Yeah.
She chose resilience, she chose courage, and she chose to use her experience to help others.
Her story is a reminder that we all have the power within us to face adversity, to heal, and to create a meaningful life,
Yeah,
even after experiencing darkness.
that's a powerful message to carry with us.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the story of Carol Durant.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you found it insightful and empowering. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe.